This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. As we turn to the award-winning Indian author Arundhati Roy facing possible arrest in India on sedition charges after recent comments she made about Kashmir. Earlier today, an Indian politician from the right-wing BJP party filed a written complaint against Roy after she publicly advocated for Kashmir independence and challenged India's claim that Kashmir is a, quote, integral part of India. The area of Kashmir has been at the center of a decades-long dispute between India and Pakistan. Arundhati Roy made the comment at a conference organized to call on India to formally admit Kashmir as an internationally recognized dispute. If charged and convicted of sedition, Arundhati Roy could face up to life in prison. On Tuesday, she defended her statements made at the conference. She wrote, quote, "I said what millions of people here say every day. I spoke about justice for the people of Kashmir who live under one of the most brutal military occupations in the world." Roy went on to write, quote, "Pity the nation that has to silence its writers for speaking their minds. Pity the nation that needs to jail those who ask for justice while communal killers, mass murderers, corporate scamsters, looters, rapists, and those who prey on the poorest of the poor roam free." Well, last month I had a chance to interview the author of The God of Small Things, Arundhati Roy, about Kashmir. We spoke in London. She began by describing how Kashmir is the unfinished business of the partition of India in 1947.
Since the 1990s, which is when, at the same time that the war in Afghanistan, the jihad, American one is jihad in Afghanistan, and India realigned itself and became what it is now, sort of completely aligned with the U.S. and the whole problem in Kashmir, the militant armed struggle for independence. I mean, there was always a struggle for independence. It's not independence. It's not ever been really a part of India, which is why it's ridiculous for the Indian government to keep saying it's an integral part of India. But that armed struggle claimed the lives of 68,000 people, because India today has 500,000 troops manning that little valley. It's the highest, most militarized zone in the world. India has done everything wrong there. Apart from a military occupation, it has completely rigged elections. It has changed that valley into a little sort of puddle, a little pool of spies and informers and intelligence networks and torture chambers. And today, it's come to a stage where people have just had enough. Now you don't even know who the rulers are, or who the leaders of the uprising are, because it's just people who cannot take it anymore. But the government still is quite busy trying to manage the crisis. There's all sorts of shady things going on, claiming mobs are setting buildings on fire, when it does look very much as though the intelligence agencies are doing that themselves in order to, once again paint this uprising in a different light. But the fact is that it's a bit like feeding a population heavy metal in its diet all the time, and that metal, that toxicity, it just lives in the body, and it goes into different places at different times, but the body never gets rid of it. And now that toxicity has reached a stage where I really think that until the international community somehow pays attention, this small valley is going to be just squashed by this completely intransigent juggernaut that is the Indian state, that will not back off, doing something absolutely immoral, absolutely as bad as it is in any other kind of occupation, including the Israeli occupation of Palestine, But Kashmir, nobody talks about.
You've been there?
Of course I've been there. I spent a lot of time there.
And so, how does it fuel what is happening in Pakistan, and maybe even going into Afghanistan?
Well, obviously Pakistan and India, Kashmir is the toxic center of that relationship. And unless it's resolved, I don't think any part of Afghanistan, Pakistan and India can be, that whole area is like getting more and more toxic, And what right now the fact is that the US is deeply involved in all of it. And as far as, because of what it's been doing in Pakistan, in Afghanistan all these years. But right now in India, I mean, the Congress government can't resolve Kashmir on its own because the right-wing BJP is there to stymie it at any point of time, you know. So it does need now an intervention from a larger community that is saying to this country that this is just not acceptable.
What do you think needs to happen?